Hello everybody and welcome to Zinni 62 Live for Wednesday night, October 4th, on what has been unquestionably a very unusual first week in October, to say the least. A very unusual first week in October. I decided to take this into a different direction, talking about live stream, mainly because there's a lot of big issues out there to cover, and I thought tonight I would push the Vegas issue to the back burner because it's become a very sensitive topic. And not that there isn't news about it, and there won't be, there will be, but the nature of that situation is such that we have to let some developments unfold. That is another way of saying that I am trying to get some information that has been, to this point, rather hard to obtain. But I'm going to obtain it. I'm not going to say what that information is because I don't want to tip off my competitor media people, but I am hot after some information that I think will give us a clearer picture regarding some matters related to the Raiders Stadium situation. But I digress. If you're here right now, you may very well be here to talk about, I hope, or chat about Cam Newton. And if that's the case, I say welcome, because this is going to be interesting. Now I'm going to wait for other people to come in and I'll talk about what happened before I show. And then once a significant number of people come in, I'll show once again what Cam said. Because at first I was convinced that Cam was just kidding. Now, after reading Scott Fowler's account from the Charlotte Observer of what happened to Jourdan Rodrigue, who I did reach out to, she was the woman who is the Charlotte Observer beat writer that was the focus of Cam Newton's statement, that really changed my mind about what Cam's intent was. Mr. Fowler basically reiterated what Cam Newton said to Ms. Fowler in a conversation that was to the side between the two of them. And basically Cam was serious in that he didn't believe that she understood past parents routes enough to ask that question. Not only that, he said that he probably should have referred to the reporters pointing into the locker room, because the reporters, he felt, didn't get football. I'm paraphrasing, okay? And that's what made me think, oh gosh, I was really wrong about it. For those of you watching this video on demand, I have people who are regular chat participants, including Barry Lee 80s, asking me what hashtag I should tweet this under. How about hashtag Cam Newton? There you go. Hashtag Cam Newton and then another hashtag NFL, but not ran together. Make sure they're spaced, because sometimes when you put your hashtags out there, they're ran together. So it's hashtag, all one word, Cam Newton, then space hashtag NFL. I'm going to tweet my own as well. To which now I say hello to 831 Scott. Hey to Barry Lee. Hey to everyone else that's coming in. And I'm going to start tweeting this out myself to promote it. And once a significant number of you are in, I will then put this out for you, the video of what Cam said. And you can draw your own conclusions about what you thought, okay? About the comment. Again, my original thought was that Cam Newton was just playing around, okay? And he thought maybe that he thought it was a case of a woman really objectifying men, and it was like, oh, you're watching those routes, huh? And no, it doesn't make it right. It makes it stupid, okay, without question. But and definitely sexist, but I thought that's what he meant. I didn't really think he actually intended in his head to think or say that she didn't know football and such that she shouldn't ask the question. I thought, really? Oh, Cam. Now, you know, I still, that's something I'm like, wow, he said that. He said that. And you know what? He did say it. According to Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer, he did say that. Now, Ivan 3600 asked, do you think the NFL should fine him? On what grounds? I fine, reprimand, and will that change anything? Should he apologize? Yeah, he should apologize. But New York 975 Full says Cam is just used to talking to guys about routes. You know, it's not the first time that Cam Newton has talked to a female reporter, though. You know, so I don't know what was in his head to think that. I don't know if maybe he had a toot or a toke or something and he was just sort of feeling good or what. But look, Cam Newton has said stupid things. He's also said stupid things to me, or a stupid thing to me, not things, but thing. I don't want to make myself sound like I'm closer to Cam Newton than, you know, other people. I have interviewed Cam Newton twice. The first time was when he was drafted, and I was the first person to get out the question. I can show you that here on Zenny 62 later. The second time was at Super Bowl 50, and it really annoyed me because I reminded him that I said, hey, Cam, I'm Zenny Abraham, the first person to ask you a question at the NFL draft. And I expected Cam to say, oh, hey, you know, good to have you here, brother, and how you feeling? You know, just something really normal, innocuous, right? But instead he says, oh, you don't take away my thunder, huh? You're trying to, like, take away my thunder, huh? And I'm thinking, what? Trying to take away your thunder? Hey, Karen Christensen, how are you? How are you doing? So that really clued me in that I really didn't get Cam Newton as a person. I'm going to ask right now, how many of you have seen the Cam Newton comment? Let me try this a different way. Have you seen, hey, Joseph Bensman, yes or no, why or no, have you seen the Cam Newton comment that caused the firestorm such that his name is at the top of the Twitter trends in a number of places around the United States? Is it a worldwide trend? Let me see. I don't know that if it's a worldwide trend. I know it was a trend in San Francisco, but I don't know that it was a worldwide trend. Let me log out and go back and check and see if it was a worldwide trend. A worldwide trend as opposed to a United States regional trend. All right, let me check on that. I'll let you know in a second. Okay, and I'm being watchful of the mic so I don't pull you guys down. All right, so we've got no, he is not a worldwide trend. Mad Max is. The WNBA Finals, Rockies. So no, Cam Newton is not a worldwide trend, but he's still a local trend. In other words, Cam Newton's a trend in, believe it or not, San Francisco and other parts like Atlanta, but he's not a worldwide trend. A lot of other things going on, but still, in America, Cam Newton is tops. Cam Newton is tops. Barry Lee hasn't seen it. Okay, so Barry Lee hasn't seen it. Who else hasn't seen it? Barry Lee hasn't. Hey, who else? Karen Christensen. Have you heard? Karen Christensen says she did not find it offensive. Interestingly. And who else? And so Joseph Bensman says he seems a bit immature. Okay, I'm going to replay it again right now. And New York's seen it. But I'm going to replay it right now so that others can, well, you know, see it, right? See what they thought. And one moment, please. As Go CSU Ram says, seen what? Well, you're about to see it, CSU, in one moment. All right. So let's see here. And because Cam did not apologize for his comments, which is very sad. But here is trying to find the actual, yeah, here it is. All right. Here we go. Okay. I'm going to take you down there. Hey, Raider Flea, how are you? Here is, in all of his glory, Cam Newton. I'm going to enlarge this.
Does that give you
right here, and I'll start it again because we started.
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes.
Okay. All right, let me start again so you can hear. This is the voice you're about to hear. Let me center this properly. Okay, put this right back here. All right, and hold on a second. This is not cooperating. Okay, hold on a second. All right, I want to start it back from where. Okay, there. All right, the voice you're about to hear is that of Jourdan Rodrigue. She is the beat reporter for the Carolina Panthers, beat reporter representing the Charlotte Observer. All right, so here we go.
I know you take a lot of pride in seeing your receivers play well. Devin Funchess has seemed to really embrace the physicality of his routes and getting those extra yards. Does that give you a little bit of an enjoyment to see him kind of truck sticking people out there?
It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. It's funny. But fun is coming along, man. We're gonna. This is a big game for him because of him being from Detroit, and I know he wants this win extremely bad, and just to see his growth over the years. It's a completely different player. We're not just on the field, and I told him and Benji today, and just moving forward, we're gonna expect those same things.
Okay, so there you go. Some of you didn't find it offensive. I thought it was stupid. I just want to know what he finds funny, same as any. I found it dumb too. And, well, yeah, that's what, and now I'm going to get to that because here is what Jourdan Rodrigue said in her statement. She issued a statement to the media which was shared by a number of people, including Ian Rappaport. And what Jourdan Rodrigue put out is, this afternoon I did my job as an NFL beat writer and asked Cam Newton a question about one of his receivers. I was dismayed by his response, which not only belittled me, but countless other women before me and beside me who work in similar jobs. I sought Mr. Newton out as he left the locker room a few minutes later. He did not apologize for his comments. And according to Scott Fowler of the Observer, it was actually kind of worse than that. No, it was just not kind of, it was worse. And what basically Cam Newton had said to her was that, well, I'm going to find what Mr. Fowler wrote here, okay? In his account of what Cam Newton said to Ms. Rodrigue, according to Mr. Fowler, not according to her voice. She didn't write this, although I think she should have, but she didn't. But what Scott Fowler, her colleague, writes is this, all right? He says, I was in that room, which held about 30 media members, and there was dead silence when Newton proclaimed, quote, "It's funny," unquote, because it actually wasn't funny at all. He punctuated the remark with a couple of exaggerated smiles. Only then did he answer the question. To state the obvious, this is 2017, not 1967. This is Mr. Fowler writing this. All Rodrigue wanted to do on Wednesday was her job, and instead she found herself in the middle of a social media firestorm. And after the news conference, Rodrigue wanted to find Newton and talk about what he said. She did catch up with him briefly. The conversation, according to Roque, was not taped, but went something like this. She asked the quarterback if he really didn't think a female could understand routes. Newton said that she wasn't really seeing specific routes while watching a game. She was just seeing if someone was open. She argued that he didn't know. She argued that he didn't know, he being Cam Newton, what she saw, nor how hard she had studied football, and that maybe the two of them need to have a deeper conversation. Newton said that maybe he should have said it was funny to hear quote, reporters, unquote, talk about routes, and that if she actually didn't know about them, then she knew more about them than most reporters. Then he gestured toward the locker room, still filled with her colleagues. Roque ended by asking Newton, whom she had introduced herself to on the first day of her employment with the Observer in October of 2016, if he knew her name after she'd covered the team almost every day for the past year. Newton said he did not. Jourdan Rodrigue, Charlotte Observer, she said, and then walked away. And so Panthers spokesman Stephen Drummond said later Wednesday afternoon via statement, "I have spoken with Jordan and Cam. I knew they had a conversation where they expressed regret for using those words. We strive as a department to make the environment for media comfortable for everyone covering the team." What should have been forthcoming immediately from the quarterback, of course, was an apology. And this is Fowler writing this. But I agree, Cam Newton should have apologized. He should have been a gentleman. And that's the other point I want to make when I come back here. And so anyway, according to Fowler, Roque says, "I was dismayed by his response with," you've heard this, I'll go back to your comments, but you now understand fully what the exchange was. Because after I read what Mr. Fowler's account was of what Ms. Roque said, I reiterate, I have contacted Ms. Roque by email. I haven't heard back from her. And it would be great to get someone like, Julie Bueller on. You would say, who's Julie Bueller? I'll get to that in a second, all right? Karen Christensen says, I thought he was taken aback by her knowledge. I do feel like I have to prove myself more to guys, but I have met guys who are wearing jerseys and cannot even name a quarterback on that team. Yeah, and Go CSU's Bram says he probably saw it as interesting, but I don't think it was funny. Cannabis Cultivator says, I think he's fine because they beat the Patriots. Okay. Connor Murphy says, I have an AP Calc test tomorrow. Should I be studying? You're here. You are studying. Joseph Binsman says, I just want to know what he finds funny. Same Zenny. I found it dumb too. And Go CSU Bram says he didn't find it offensive. And Connor Murphy says, Cam is kind of a clown. I doubt he was thinking. No, I think he wasn't thinking. That's the thing. He says things without even he doesn't sometimes have his brain accurately connected to his mouth. He just says stuff, okay? I mean, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about because I've interviewed him. And I'll play for you what I'm talking about. New York says, Cam is just too sincere with his personal opinions. Ray Lewis has also been a victim of being too sincere on race issues, called a lack of awareness, not sexist. But that's different. I think Ray Lewis, though, I can't compare Ray Lewis. Well, you know what? Comparing Cam Newton to Ray Lewis is an insult to Ray Lewis because Ray made comments that needed to be made, pure and simple. And comments about race, you don't sugarcoat. You don't play with those. You say them with conviction and you move forward, and that's what Ray Lewis has done, and he was right to do it. This is different. In fact, the reason why I sympathize with Jordan is that I know what it's like to be the only black person in the environment, and I don't want to be singled out that way. And later in life, I've gotten mad at people I thought were friends who did that, and they're not friends anymore. My point is, and I remember, here's an example of what I'm talking about, because I really have lost connection with this person for a long time. A group of us on Sundays will always play, touch football. A group from Skyline High in Oakland. And we went over to this person's house. I'm not going to use names. And we were in our group, and I'm the only black person, right? And I had never thought about myself as the only black person. I was with people that I started the Star Trek Club with before her. and others. She actually started dating one of the other guys and became part of the group, white. But we've been playing for quite some time. So we were in her kitchen, and she just pops off with this question: Zenny, do black people put their garbage, I think, under the sink? Where, you know, the garbage can? Well, I put my garbage can under the sink, and I know enough people to this day who have different places they put their garbage can regardless of color. So much so that I was really incensed when she asked me the question, and I said so. I didn't like it because it was her way of saying, hey, look, you are not one of us. You're not part of this group. You're different. You're black. So therefore, because you're black, you have to do these things. I didn't want to hear that because she had already done little different things to make me feel, or try and make me feel like an outsider, even though I wasn't, and I knew the people longer. So I thought, you know what? I don't want to know this person. There are other more worthwhile people to know than that person. And I kept it that way for about almost 20 years now. I'm serious about that. That's how much I didn't like that. Because she never had the opportunity to come forward and say, you know what, that was really stupid of me, I'm sorry. And she didn't get why I was upset. I was upset for the same reason that Jourdan is upset now. You don't want to be singled out as the other. You're in a room, as she put it, doing your job. That's it. Okay? And Balsarula says, I say Cam is neither. And Karen, and so Joseph Binsman says, yeah, that was not a good look at the press conference. And Barry Lee says, the fact is, if a male reporter asked that question, he wouldn't have had the stupid look on his face. No, he wouldn't have. Karen Christensen says, a lot of women watch the football to be closer to the male counterpart. I would have told her I was impressed. Rick Rice says, you're the man, thanks, you're the man. Bossy Ruler says, I say Cam is neither sexist nor stupid. I got you. I think I got that right? Okay. Barry Lee says, which he should have said, he talking about Cam Newton, was a very good question with a straight face and not the look of disrespect. Karen Christensen says, I was always the only female that played street football when I was younger. I didn't care. I got tired of being told I couldn't do something because I'm a girl. And Bow says I got it right. Now, this is a special thing with me because, and I don't even know if I can get her on the phone. It's probably, calling her out of the blue would probably be not the best thing to do, but I was thinking, this makes me think of my friend Julie Bueller. And Julie is she was on KXPS Palm Springs when I met her at the NFL draft, and she was the only female sports reporter in the state of California. And we hit it off, and still friends to this day. Political differences, like she's definitely right where I'm left, but I like Julie. I've always liked Julie. Always had a more than a great deal of respect for her, and always fought for her and what she's tried to do, and very proud of that. So I know Julie has been in these situations and has an opinion to share, and I given that it's 3 hours behind, I may be able to reach her. I do not know. So, and Go CSU Rams informs us that the Rockies lost, but Barry Lee says, I just can't stand any man who disrespects women on any level. And Karen Christian says he looked like he thought she was attractive. And Karen, that's exactly what I'm getting at. And then Boss literally says to Barry, you like women who disrespect men? but here's what I'm getting at with respect to what I thought Cam meant. And again, I thought he was trying to say, oh, like you really look at those men running those routes, don't you? He was teasing, right? But he didn't come off and say to her on the side, hey, you know what? I was kidding. And I shouldn't have kidded, and I'm sorry. I was just being playful, okay? I think that spoonful of sugar would have helped the medicine go down a lot better than what he actually wound up saying to her, according to her, okay? So, according to her. So, that sound you hear is Skype, because I was going to try to Yeah, right. Bouse says, Zinni, no, she spoke to Cam. He was worse. Yeah, he was worse. He just said straight out he was worse. And I read, before you arrived, Bouse, I read the account according to Scott Fowler. And I have sent an email to Miss Rock to invite her on the show, see if she'll come on, right? But I did read it. It was worse. It was pretty bad. Now, again, Cam Newton has said some things, like I say, he said stupid things to me. Or a stupid thing to me. Not things, but thing to me. And I'll play what that was in a second. And Barry, I'll get your comment in a second. What I'm trying to do right now is see if I can find, if I have Julie Bueller's number here in the in my Skype. It's been a long time since she and I have connected on Skype. So I believe I have her here, but I'm not certain. In fact, let's see here. I may, and again, this will be a complete cold call. There she is. There's the mobile. I'm gonna give Julie. I'm gonna test this out and see what happens. This is a complete cold call. Complete cold call. Nope. Didn't get her. I got an internal error. So unable to reach, so she might be on her television. She might be doing the news. She does the television news, so we'll try Julie another time. There. See if we can get her on to talk about this. But, okay. Bashu Ruler says you can legislate behavior, but can't legislate how people think. Rick Rice says guys just being guys. Barry Lee says Bouse, it also applies to men. It's mutual respect thing for me. Karen Christian says, I have been told that it's refreshing to talk to a female who understands, cares about football. Let me present to you Julie Bueller as an example of what I'm talking about, okay? In fact, give me, you know what? Give me one moment. I'm going to see. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to move over and see if I can contact her another way and see if I can get her on or schedule something. Don't worry, folks. I'm coming right back. I'm actually not even going to stop the live stream. I'm going to keep it going, but I just want to see if I can do something real quick. Hold on a second. All right. Okay. All right. I'm back, folks. And I am back, and I actually reached out to and I connected with Julie. Julie is driving, and she's about 45 minutes away from home, going through the mountains and everything else. And so I'm going to definitely get her back on the show. But she is, I can't think of anybody better outside of Jordan Rook herself. And yeah, I'm here. I'm back. I said I was going to go away just for a little bit to catch Julie, and I did. And I did catch her. She's driving, because when I called, I didn't quite get her. But I'm going to schedule time to get her back on the show and go from there. So yes, I am back, and I'm going to retweet out that everything is going back and going concern. I'll wait for the rest of you to come on back in, and while you all are coming in, I'm going to put some more of this out on social media, and so we can finish our conversation about this dealie, as we say, as I say. Okay, I'm putting hashtag live stream cam talk now. Got it. Okay, boom. Now, who did I lose? 4 watching now. Karen is, let's see what your comments were. New York says, you can legislate behavior, but can you legislate how people think? True. And, well, I haven't stopped the live. I didn't quit the live stream at all. I just took a break to call Julie Bueller. And so if you're wondering, we are still live. Yes, we are live. Do I expect the NFL to address this? I do expect the commissioner to address the question at the NFL fall owners meeting. Someone is going to ask that question at the meeting that comes up in about 2 weeks in New York City. So yeah, I expect it to be asked. I really do. And I do. So I was trying it, but again, for those of you who are just joining me, welcome. We're back talking about Cam Newton, and I was trying to get Julie Bueller on to talk about it. And Julie is, again, the first female sports reporter with her own show in California sports history. And she had a radio show on KXPS Palm Springs for several years, and now she's on television in Palm Springs covering sports. She's covered the NFL draft. She's covered a number of NFL-related events. She's covered a number of sports events. She's covered a number of celebrity events. She's really intelligent, super buffed, pretty, gorgeous, smart, all that in one package. She can even shoot a gun really well. So there you go. New York April says it's easy to cast Cam Newton in a predatory role because he's a man, but he unwittingly made a comment that didn't have to be made. No, he didn't at all. Now I've talked a lot about Julie. I want to present to you. This is Julie Bueller, okay? And before Karen Christian says, as a tomboy, I cannot relate to other women. Most of my interests are guy interests, and when guys find out how much I relate, they can't have a conversation with me without wanting to date me. That's a great thing, though. I mean, a guy who wants a woman who's smart. What's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong with that? Let me show you Julie Bueller, okay? And what I say show you because I've interviewed her a bunch of times, and I think I may have presented this, well, I'm about to show you before, but it's worth doing again, if only because I want to present a woman who knows sports. And Karen Christian says she can't find a woman who relates to her. But I submit that the women are out there, you just have to find them. Now, let me try this. Julie, excuse me. It's funny how the Ram situation goes here. Julie Bueller. Like, is that, yeah, it's like Ferris Bueller, okay? Julie Bueller's like Ferris Bueller, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, okay? And let's see here. Julie did things like she interviewed, or actually she got into an argument with Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman at the Super Bowl. And this is, okay, this particular video is special to me because, well, I'll show, well, before I show that one, let me show this one, okay? Hold on a second. This is Julie on the radio show. I went down to do her radio show, okay? So here's my stint on Julie Bueller's radio show, Bueller's Day Off. Okay. Here we go. Hold on a second. For some reason. All right. Somehow I got her demo reel.
Y'all ready for this?
It's a whole...
Wait a second. Nope. Wait a second. How that happened, I don't know. Hold on a second.
The final night of fact.
Oh, here we go. All right, this is it. This is it. There are a number of videos I have, video interviews I have of her. So here's one, okay?
This is my good friend who tells me I talk like I think I know everything.
Yeah, he does. He acts like he knows everything.
Only
and
about
rarely
Stevie,
do we
though.
ever get evidence to point to that fact.
Actually, I don't know everything because I don't know everything.
The authority with which he speaks definitely conveys a certain level of omnipotent knowledge.
Yes, it does. I'll wear that. Thank you.
You can wear that.
Yeah, I do wear that.
The veracity of which has yet to be
that.
determined, but it is.
Well, I did almost bring the Super Bowl here for Oakland.
No, not even close, actually, Zandy. It wasn't even close.
votes.
Like, we're pretty far away from Oakland.
No, I mean when
He's now taking credit
that was
for
16
bringing
years
the
ago. She
Super
hasn't
Bowl
seen
here.
my bid book.
No, I haven't.
See?
On purpose.
I'm gonna bring you my bid
Because
book.
I don't need a nap right now, so why would I watch the bid? Why would I pay
Oh,
attention to the bid book?
you see, folks, she's gonna be so shocked. She's got a great show. I was actually guest host on it because we lost a bet
I lost a bet.
to me.
Yeah. What was the bet?
That OKC Thunder was going to lose to the Miami Heat.
Oh, I don't even remember the terms of the bet. I just remember he won it and I lost.
Now, what's that about
So
my?
you had
I talk
to-
like I think I know everything.
You got to be on my radio show one time.
And I brought good guests, didn't I?
and then my ratings dipped so low
No, I got
that
good-
I
oh.
refused to have him back. That's,
Well, that was after the show because I had great guests, didn't I?
yeah, Lee Steinberg
Yep, Mike Silver.
and Mike Silver, and then Doug
Yeah.
from the Superdome in New Orleans.
She's been working out. She's solid, folks.
Yeah,
Like, look at that.
Pythons.
She's like,
Pythons are
man, she's like,
going strong.
she's ripped.
Anyway,
So you
I'm gonna
have
go get some work
to,
done.
you have to listen to her radio show.
And
She's her
watch
radio
me on
show.
KMIR News,
Okay,
the
that's
NBC
right.
affiliate in Palm
Hey, you're
Springs,
doing high school, right?
KMIR.com. I do all sports.
All sports. She does all
I'm here
sports.
for KMIR.
She's the first woman to have her own sports talk host show
Fly solo in primetime, baby.
in California.
California broadcasting history.
Yeah, and now
And because
have
we
your own
have a lot
company
of
now,
fun.
right?
And we have a lot of fun. Yes, I have my own company, Kicks Media. Hey, I know that
it.
guy.
Oh, it's we. Hey, Mike.
Oh, yes.
It's
Everyone
great.
knows Mike
Hey,
Florio.
Mike.
Yes, hi. I'm
Yeah.
talking about this guy right back there, too.
Oh, anyway.
Foster. Hey, how are you?
This is Media Center, folks.
I know,
This
it's
happens
Media
to
Center.
Super Bowl
You gotta
Media
say hi
Center.
to everyone. This
Oh,
is,
hey.
do you know Zenny?
Oh, hey, man. I'm
Steven
Zenny.
Foster?
How you doing, man? Yeah,
Zenny
pretty
Abraham?
good. Yeah, how you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Austin?
How's it going, man? How you doing?
San Antonio. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How you been? Man, good to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and happy Super Bowl week.
Exactly.
It's a holiday for us media types.
that's
This
right.
is the best time of year for us.
It is.
Yeah,
Other
she's
than
right.
the NFL season actually starting, which is another fantastic time of year.
I feel
But
like you're
this is
sort
my
of putting your
favorite thing.
hole in it, block your head in a hole when you do that. It's kind of like, hey, I see you.
I know. I feel like it's our.
It's like
It's
like summer camp.
Hey, that's actually a good one. I like that. Summer camp.
Yeah, summer camp. So we're doing.
All right,
So,
I'm gonna
folks,
go,
catch
where
your
are you
show
We're in Pod
Yes, watch.
and tell the channel.
I'm on 103.9 ESPN in Palm Springs. 103.9. I'm an ESPN affiliate now. 103.9 ESPN.com and then KMIR.com for all your TV action.
All right. And we'll see you.
Fans.
Okay, so that's a taste of Julie. Actually, yeah, that's a taste of Julie Bueller. So we've had a lot of fun. So this is she lost a bet to me at and I wound up doing her show, and that was a lot of fun. That was a ton of fun. And
This is my good friend.
where are you
who
guys?
tells me I talk like I think I know everything. Cause
Yeah, he does. He acts like he knows everything.
Only
And
about
rarely do we
70%.
ever get evidence to point to that fact.
Actually,
but
I don't know everything because I don't know
The
everything.
authority with which he speaks definitely conveys a certain level of omnipotent knowledge.
Yes, it does. I'll wear that. Thank you.
So I forgot that I had that kind of effect on some people. She's just mad that I lost the bet to her. Yeah, that's yeah.
Today's world of high-speed
I'm trying to shut this up. Hold on a second. Yep, John Marks, that's Julie Bueller. And that's Julie. And I might as well see how much. That's Julie Bueller. Yes, Julie Bueller, John. Yes. And we've had a lot of fun together, Julie and I. But Julie is also a great. Let me. Since I'm talking about women in sports and I'm featuring Julie, because Julie's great at what she does, all right? This is from my TV show. This is it, all right? Watch this. This is It's about 5:27 in the morning on Monday, and I'm headed to San Francisco International Airport for only my first eventual trip to Palm Springs to be on this radio show. And I'm here. There she blows, San Francisco International Airport right there. I'm foreshortening this because that's my trip to Palm Springs. And I have no idea how that got there. That is not Julie. Hold on a second. It's buffering too. It just happened to stop there, folks. Trying to move this forward. There we go. And here we go again. It's a long video. I'm trying to cut to the chase.
Headed to the baggage claim.
That was a hot day.
Finished the Julie Bueller show, Bueller's Day Off, and how did I do?
You did really good. You guys talked about stuff.
Oh shoot! Hold on a second. Let me do this. Sorry about that, folks. It buffered a little bit. All right.
And as she's spinning, she's just building more and more momentum.
Hold on a second. This is Julie. This is when I was on her show.
But
okay. Here we go. All right. This is Julie Bueller. Okay. If I ever get this thing to stop buffering. Come on, stop buffering. And go. Okay, folks, at some point, it's going to stop buffering very soon. Now, oh yeah, she's a terrific lady. Absolutely. Funny as heck. I think she's intimidated by the fact that I do know everything. I know what I'm talking about. My omnipotence, like, da-da. That's interesting that I have that effect on people. Some people. The weak-minded. No, just kidding. I'm saying this knowing Julie's going to watch this at some point. She's going to say, what? Hold on, folks. I'm trying to unbuffer because I've got all these windows open. So I've got to close some windows here to make this play. And there's one window that's closing. Let me see if I can close the other because I've got all this. I don't have that many windows open. I will close this one. Yeah, don't worry, I've got two versions of my blog open at once. Okay, there it is. All right. Got it. Okay. Hey, the barber, how you doing? All right, now let me see here. I still have the spinning wheel of death. Let me see if I can get Julie re-going here so you can see our bet. All right. Alexis Fleet, how are you, Alexis? Are you really Alexis Fleet, or are you impersonating, or are you actually somebody else that normally comes to our channel that bugs us but has these different names, and this time you decided you're going to be Alexis Fleet? I'm wondering if that's the case at all. Well, come what may, here's Julie.
In today's world of high-speed connection, text messaging, and social networking, we often find ourselves searching for information. There are millions of blogs on the internet. News, sports, politics, and tech. But I bring it all together for you and present it in a relentlessly unconventional fashion. My name is Zenny Abraham, and this is the Blog Report. It's time now for news.
All right, so I'm fast forwarding this way forward. So hopefully it works better this time. And here.
Layer, not a CR7. Cool air for a long time.
And here.
More momentum becomes a freight train that she can't stop. So when she releases
Here we go.
her face plant.
This is it.
Give me a ride to the hotel and this is, look at how hot this is. This is as hot as it looks. Hey everybody, I'm in the office of the great Julie Bueller. Getting ready for Julie Bueller's Day Off today. But we have a unique view on Nastya
Lucan and her face plant. Yeah, what's interesting is when you watch the video, you can see her load her hips at the top about 2 spins or 2 rotations before she does her. And what that does is it creates more momentum in her hips, and as she's spinning, she's just building more momentum. It becomes a freight train that she can't stop. So when she releases the bar, her body is pulled away from the bar because of her own strength, really, and then she just falls flat on her face. It's tragic. You know, football's the game of inches. In gymnastics, it's an even smaller margin.
Ouch. Hey everybody, I am in the studio of KXPS Palm Springs. Just finished the Julie Bueller show, Bueller's Day Off. And how did I do?
You did really good. You guys talked about so many different subjects. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. God bless you, show producer. What did you do yourself, by the way? Valley and the great Julie. Thank you. So Julie, how was
Valley did great. I thought the show motored. I mean, it just blazed by. So, you know, 4th of July, we get a little holiday. Get to thank the servicemen and women of this great nation that give us our freedom and our independence. And what more can you ask for other than being able to talk about sports for a couple hours a day and live free?
So give it to me on camera. How did I do well? How did I not do? What should I improve on? What should I improve on?
Okay, well, Zenny, if you want to be a world-famous sports talk radio host, here's what you should do. Number 1, don't. Number 2...
Don't what?
don't want to be a world-famous sports talk radio host.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, number 1, I thought you did well. You gotta have more impact in your voice. You gotta understand that people are coming and going halfway through a conversation. So if they don't hear your voice and immediately understand that you're saying something important, they're gonna totally blow you off. So when you speak, you need more authority in your voice.
Does that mean I talk like this? I say, hello, heck your mom. What is it?
Very real, though.
Like, really?
Very real.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very real.
He does come across as being very, very real and sincere.
Thank you.
What she's trying to say is, in radio, you use your voice as an instrument, and you make it powerful to make your point, or a certain arguable voice when you're tangling with a host on a certain subject.
Oh. Like a voice coach.
You can let that tiger in you kind of come out, you know?
Ah, like a voice coach you recommend maybe or something?
Sure, I always would recommend that for anybody, actually.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Look out, folks, they've unleashed a monster.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
Hope you come back.
Oh, hey, thank you for having me. You've been great. Thank you.
Thanks, Val.
And
Thank you, Julie.
that man in the back was great, too. And Brian is, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
We're going to head out to the irrelevant banquet.
Have a safe journey back.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so that was
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You've been awesome host.
that was me
Awesome
on her
driving
show,
me
and
around.
you know, as you can hear, you know,
Well, we have a lot of fun, and
Julie,
that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
And
we had a lot of fun, and we really did.
This is
And
my good friend. He tells me I talk like I think I know everything. Cause
Yeah, he does.
And she says
he
I-
acts like he knows everything.
Only
And
about
rarely do
Stevie.
we
I
ever
am
get
not,
evidence.
you know what? I am not going to let her live that down. One of these days, I'm going to get her for that in a good way, in a good way. But no, Julie is funny, and like I say, she's someone that I've always fought for because she's always tried to do it her way. And when I think of women in sports, I think of Julie all the time. She's number 1 on the list of people who tried to really, you know, she's really tried to make her mark, and that's all I think anyone's trying to do in this, you know, in this world, right? Trying to make her mark. And you know, then there was that time I interviewed her about Andrew Luck, and I was trying to find that one video where I interviewed her. Oh, here it is. Okay, this is at the NFL draft. Okay, and Joseph Binsman, you say Rachel. You know, I like Rachel, but I like Julie better.
Hey.
What's up, Zenny? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the draft so far?
Well, I mean, the draft this year is going to be a draft that can help good teams get better, build some depth. It's not a draft that you're going to say, wow, a team that's in the top 5 is going to become a playoff team after this draft. But I do think there's some great depth. The line of scrimmage players that are available in this draft are rare, freak of nature type athletes. So I'm excited to see how it turns out. I think a lot of trades are going to happen. I think there's going to be a lot of upheaval. And as always, the NFL knows exactly how to get the most from their
your show because the last year you went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was at the Super Bowl.
Huge. Yeah. And we had the draft last year, and then you've got a lot of great guests coming on and everything.
Absolutely.
But I have one question for you.
What's that?
What's going on with Kobe and the Lakers?
Well, Kobe ruptured his Achilles.
Yeah, I know.
The Lakers are going to be going through a major rebuilding process. Some significant moves need to be made to repair that team because it's in disarray, to say the least. And I think what happened was they knew they had to move on from Phil. They weren't sure how to do that, what that looked like, and now they might have to move on from Kobe too.
Wow. What's next on your show?
NFL draft coverage, man. We'll look at the first round, who goes where, which team I think did the best. We have 3 teams with 2 picks. That could play into the trades too. I expect the Rams to move up in the draft and get Trayvon Austin. And then I also expect the Jets to take an offensive player and a defensive player. They tend to take defensive players with their number 1 overall or their first round picks. So we'll see what they do.
Now, any favorite player you have in the draft?
No, I really hold off evaluating a player because so much hinges on the franchise they go to and the infrastructure that they're drafted into. You could have a phenomenally talented player that may get wasted on a bad franchise. So until I see which player goes in what system and the front office structure around that player, I'll wait and see. Jury's still out.
We'll come back to you.
Thank you. Always good to see you.
Okay, so that's what I wanted you to see. I think I've shown that once before, but that's what I want you to see. And she knows the game, and so I don't think.
Thank you, Greg.
I don't think that what Cam Newton did was right or fair, and it's quite likely he hasn't been exposed to a lot of female media people like Julie or Rachel Nichols or anyone else, or Sage Steele, or Jamele Hill, who was the focus of the era of the White House. And I thought that what Sarah Huckabee Sanders did was wrong and arguably illegal in saying that ESPN should have fired her for her comments about Donald Trump being white supremacist. If you have a president who sends out that message, it is irresponsible for the media to not call the president on it, and that is all she was doing. But, so, Julia, Karen Christian says, Zinni, tell her I find her inspiration and would love to have her in the lodge. I will, and I'm going to talk to her again and get her on. It was great to just cold call her, and she, like I say, I really root for her, and she's a solid individual in all kind of ways, and she's had her ups and downs with just being her. And I think she says that I talk like I think I know everything. I had that omnipotent voice. At least I'm not impotent. But but that, it's funny to watch video and then watch what people say about you or think about you in the video and go from there. But but I'm glad she thinks that I have this voice that scares the heck out of people. But guys, I never think that. Do I scare you guys when I talk sometime? Or just when I get really mad? I don't mean to. But you wonder what it is that people think. I remember when I was in undergraduate school in Texas, and a woman, Susan Ponce, who since went on to become a big oil executive in Houston, said to me that she never thought of me as having any issues or problems. She thought of me as perfect. And I thought, what? I mean, whatever she saw, I sure as heck didn't see. And I was sharing some personal stuff with her at my senior year and all that, as we tend to do, right? It was interesting. So anyway, Karen Christian says, freedom of speech allowed her to say that about Trump, even if I don't agree. And 831 Scott says, McCaffrey hasn't done as well as the Panthers thought he was going to do. 831 Scott, I think the problem in terms of Christian McCaffrey, I think the problem has to do with how the Panthers are employing him. And Christian is the kind of back that needs about 15 to 20 touches a game. You can't give him 5 or 6 and expect greatness. That's just not the way. At Stanford, he was the man. You can't be the man when you're behind Jordan and Richard, all right? That's just not the way it works. You can't put him back there and then think, okay, one day he's going to be the man, but really Jordan Richard's the man, all right? That's not fair to him. So you can't put him back there and expect that. So John Mark says, I remember doing sports talk in 1998, 99, and 2000 on Hayward Chabot College Radio. Joseph Bensman says, say, what about Trump? Just curious. Barry Lee says, have a good night. Hey, good night, Barry. Good night. Oh, by the way, before anyone finds this, okay, there was this Karen Creature says, I wish I could talk to people like you do. You seem to make friends everywhere you go. John Mark says, sports talk is definitely tough. I admire Julie Bueller. Barry Lee says, have a good night. Hey, good night, Barry. Good night. We'll see you. Good night. Barry Strong. We'll see you tomorrow, Thursday. Now, for those of you who might want to tease me about Julie, I'm going to give you a little bit more ammunition, all right? Just a little bit. A little bit more ammunition, okay? This is going to be fun. I wasn't going to do this, but I figured, why not? I will do it, all right? Don't forget, it's double shares night, by the way, folks. But you got to see this. This is worth a replay. This is worth a moment, if you will, all right? And hold on a second. Let me go back to get it. You're going to laugh, I think. I've forgotten how this entirely plays out, this video. But at the NFL draft in New York, my favorite thing to do was to go to 21 on the night before the draft. That was my favorite thing, all right? That was my favorite thing, okay? And I mean, my whole, just 21 is America to me, all right? So on this particular occasion, you were about to see, all right? Right here, when I get here, yeah, this is it. This was our, Julia and I, as
Hair Optics plus Hydroglass contact lenses
right,
give you lasting lens surface moisture and feel good.
I'm at 21 for the 8th time with my friend Julie. Julie, what do you think of 21?
Hey, can't beat a nice restaurant with rich mahogany and many leather-bound books.
And the tour continues. We had a great. What did you have for meal?
I had tuna tartare and got my omega-3s with some steelhead salmon. Flaxseed encrusted steelhead salmon, I might add.
She's watching her. Show me your guns.
No.
She's not going to comply because she's...
No, because we're in a restaurant. No flexing zone.
Translation, I would really, really, really shock these people if I showed them how I shaped I was.
That's actually kind of true. These people probably want to scream running from the restaurant if I did. So, we'll leave it alone.
Well, they wouldn't scream running from the restaurant. They would be gasping in admiration. But that's her. Yeah, I'm trying to coax her through this. Work with me. And Jim Mercer, if you're watching this, I really need your help, okay? Folks, this is a famous place of 21 that you don't know how I got here, and the gentleman is not going to be in my video. Just letting you know that.
More notable names I cherry-picked out of the collection. There are about 1,400 more models upstairs.
This is the
but yeah, names like Elizabeth
private stash right here. See that?
The other band is also dedicated to private.
Isaac Mizrahi.
Wow. Amazing, amazing.
President Ford.
President Ford here. Nixon. T-Boone Pickens.
Yes.
who's still alive, actually, yeah. And Burgess Meredith, who played the Penguin.
Yeah.
Nixon.
John Aston, who is the...
Bottles for President Nixon.
Wow. And then John Aston again. And John Huston, the famous Angelica's father, right?
Yeah.
Angelica's father's, yeah. New York Governor Hugh Carey. Burgess Meredith again and again and again. And Sammy Davis Jr. right here. Wow.
Pretty incredible.
American history and American culture right there. Wow. This is great. Look at this table.
Yeah, this is private dining. We're actually based in the 17, and that's,
Wow.
actually, that was not part of the speakeasy.
So you can have each one of these for $480 per person for the entire table, which is a great deal, I think. It's a very great deal. 21, still the place to be in the 21st century. This is Jimmy Walker's booth right here. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not Jimmy Walker. That's actually, it's Jimmy Walker's booth, and it's luxurious, and I can sit down and have a great liqueur or wine or, in this case, bourbon. Yes, Jimmy Walker's booth, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. All right, go for it. She thinks she's the next president. She might be right, but I doubt it.
Is there a flash on here?
I'll give her 16
Yes.
years.
Oh. Let's see. Is it on? Oh, there you go.
I'm not old enough to run for president yet.
On.
I'm not old enough to run for president yet. Oh, I'm sorry.
Alright, one more time.
Okay.
Let's try this. On three. 1, 2, 3. It's a little dark.
Done and done. It will work, my friend. Oh. Great.
I got the side view. So wait, what does it feel like to sit in one of the most expensive eating chairs in the United States?
I think the fascinating part is the historic relevance of it being a speakeasy and then being converted, and the ingenuity that was developed using a meat hook as the key to all of a sudden open 2 tons of brick to unlock a forbidden world. That's pretty incredible. So I appreciate the tour. I appreciate going through a hole cut out of pure brick and mortar. You know, it's history, man. It's living history right now.
Well said, I think. Do you think she said that well?
He doesn't care. He's like, get me out of here. I want to go home. For shit's sake.
I will say on camera, before you all, I think she said that very, very well. At 21.
Yes.
Okay, folks, that was, I had to share that because that was a lot of fun. And that was what we did when we went to the NFL draft, and that was my thing to do, and she did it with me, and that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that was awesome. Awesome times. So, anyway, that's my friend Julie, and I haven't seen her in quite a while. That was the 2013 NFL draft. It's 2017. Yeah, 2013 NFL draft. Yeah, that's right. So, 2012. Because Andrew Luck was drafted. 2012. So, anyway. 831 Scott says, Amy Trask, my favorite woman in sports. Negotiate Like a Girl. Great book. Karen Christian says, a word to describe you is gregarious. Thank you. Oh, I thank you. I appreciate that, Karen. But at any rate, I showed Julie to show everybody that there are women in sports who are, there are a lot of examples like Julie. They really know their stuff. They know what they're talking about. And they should be respected and prized. Okay. Rick Rice says, hey, Zinster, how do you keep your relationship professional with such an attractive lady? Well, look, I like Julie, okay? And for me, Julie is my friend. She's somebody that I've always admired. And when you say professional, she doesn't work with me, okay? We work together, but I have my thing and she's got her thing, which allows me to do that thing like a 21, all right? So that was it. It wasn't, it wasn't like that, all right? We are friends. I am a man, she's a woman. Have I been interested in her? Yeah, I won't lie. I didn't say I haven't been, because I think she's amazing, okay? Absolutely. And I can say that right now, not being connected to anybody. But, but even if I were, and I was talking about the past, I would say, yeah, at one point I liked her, and we like, but that doesn't take away from her talent, all right? And that's what I want people to know. You can have, as a man, a relationship with a woman who's in the same profession, okay? And you can have a dual relationship. Maybe you date sometimes, and maybe you don't, but that doesn't take away from what you do in terms of your industry, your business, okay, right? You have to, in order to make that work, you have to have communication and understanding, but also at the floor of your relationship, mutual respect. You have to actually like the person. If I didn't like Julie, let me put it this way. There's some guys who don't actually like women in sports, but they'll try to date them, all right? But they don't like a woman in sports who's talented or anything, but they'll try to date them. That's not me, all right? What I find attractive about Julie is her overall way. It's her presentation, her insistence on excellence. The only thing that Julie and I I wouldn't say part company, but I would say that she's right wing, whereas I'm left wing. But it's kind of cute, all right, in the way it comes about. It reminds me of Marlee Matlin and, Marlee Matlin and James Carville. James Carville is staunch Democrat, Marlee Matlin, staunch Republican, married, successful couple, right? So, hey, but what they were interested in was less perceived differences than their mutual fascination with politics and power. And that's really what brought them together. And I think with Julie and I, it's our mutual love for the sports industry, the media, helping people tell their stories, telling it from a point of view, and also, yeah, just developing our personalities and having our personalities be seen to deliver a message. I mean, that's what we have in common, and it's that on top of everything else that I mentioned that makes our relationship work as a base friendship, if not anything else. So I always admire Julie. That'll never go away, ever. So hope that answers your question. So Karen Christian says that's where we differ to political. Actually, left and right balance each other. They do, right? And what comments did I miss here? And Rick Rice says, "You truly are the man." Thanks. And then Karen Christian says, "I have nothing but admiration for Amy Trask." Ditto. And Adrian Scott says, "Me too, Karen." And Karen Christensen says, "Rick, that's exactly what I run into with guys." And she says, "Those guys find women intimidating." And Rick Rice says, "See, that's the thing, Karen. What other guys may find intimidating about Julie, I find attractive." And that's just how it is. She's just has that go-getter thing about her, okay? And Karen says, "That's where we differ to political. Actually, left and right balance each other." I said that before. And New York 1975 will ask, what were your thoughts about the LeVar Ball incident with Christine Leahy? Glad you asked. And would that be comparable to Cam Newton's sexist controversy? I'm glad you asked, because I read that two ways. I read that in part her being racist, and the other part him being defensive but then sexist to a degree. I felt that the way she came off was, I have to prove that I can, and I'm just going to say this straight out, that I can represent the conservative white sports male view about LeVar Ball, but I'm a white woman. That's how she came off to me. And I found that really grating. Okay? I found that really grating. In fact, I think the best thing to do is for me to find the clip and play it here, and you can see what I'm getting at. So let me find that. I'm glad you asked that. New York, Christine Leahy and LeVar Ball. Let me find that right now. I thought that's a great example to introduce, and what I love about video is you can play an account and then people can understand what you're saying if they see it, rather than trying to fill the exchange with their own insecurities, which is what, you know, we commonly do as people, right? So here is...
Have you sold any shoes yet?
Here's that, all right?
Yeah, I've sold a good amount to me. Like I said, there's different amounts.
How many?
Stay in your lane. Anyway, I'm just curious. I don't even worry about her over there. Every time she scares me to death. She says she scares Lonzo. Lonzo's scared of me. She scares me. That's why I don't look that way. I don't look over there because she scares me. I'm thinking of so right now.
I'm just trying.
Leave me alone. I'll tell you, 400-500 pair.
So she's a reporter. Her job is to probe.
She can report to whoever she wants behind her. I'm talking to you, Colin.
Well, what is your problem with me?
Hey, my problem is you are a hater.
Why?
I would never wear a Big Baller shirt. But
no,
good. Don't even talk to Big Baller. I heard you say it. I'm not even worried about it.
I said that I wouldn't wear something that
it says Big Baller. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
With all due respect, you're a great reporter. Just not reporting on me.
I have a right to say what shirt I would and wouldn't wear.
Welcome to Big Baller Zone.
Well, no, I think I actually was saying it as like a point. No, I didn't say no. I didn't say it was offensive. I didn't say it was offensive. Yeah. I just said, if you want to, work with Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, to maybe have something that appeals to women.
I thought that was a legit. I mean, I don't have to agree, but I thought that was a pretty good point.
With her. I don't agree.
But I thought it was a good point.
No, I'm actually saying it as like a point of advice.
I'm not friends with her. I don't even see that. I don't even see it.
I wasn't saying it as like I would never wear this.
What's this show about again? Ain't we talking about shoes? I don't want to talk about all that. Next.
Well, I think in order to have a successful company, you're going to have women who like your brand.
Yeah, if you have a women's company. But anyways.
Oh, so you're not marketing to women.
We're talking about Big Baller brand.
Okay.
You know what? He don't need no credibility to say I'm a gangster and I do this and I do that. No, Lonzo's a ball player. He is who he is. And like I said, and going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
Now, that's a little harsh.
It's going to be harsh because he want to be harsh on me.
So you disrespect women and people for their weight?
No, that's what you say. I didn't say nothing about no weight.
No, you just said that to me.
Like I told her, I'm not even worried about you right now. Keep in your lane.
Can you look me in the eye?
Like I said, Whitlock, I don't want to look you in the eye. You scare me to death.
Oh.
Like I said.
Compliment.
Thank you.
Yes.
They wouldn't want to work with you anyway because you don't respect women, so...
She's after you today.
Oh, I don't respect women, but I'm the one that's married. I'm good. Well, she can say what she wants. She's trying to put it. I never disrespect women. But I tell you what, if you act like that, guess what? Something's coming to you.
Oh.
And it's okay.
Do you think...
Are you threatening me?
Oh, see how she tried to turn the words? I would never threaten you.
You said something's coming to me.
I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychic.
Oh.
Okay, excuse me. After I've watched that again, excuse me for a second. Got this thing up. All right, cool. All right. After I watched that again, yeah, I have to say that LeVar was using her to be.
I'm not gonna be like everybody else and talk about what you did or didn't do.
This is Stephanie Stiff.
All of that. What I'm asking you is a simple question. We talk about the GOAT here, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan.
Listen to this. All right, listen to this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Blasphemous. He would need help. Really? He's too small. His name is big, and y'all like, it was a 5-on-5. 5-on-5 game, he good. 1-on-1, I'm undefeated. Never lost.
Will you stop it? Don't apologize on TV. That don't make any sense. Listen,
ain't nobody really in a one-on-one.
Why you saying stuff like that?
Distance one-on-one.
That's that, man. You look like you were tired.
Let me ask you this, like I tell him.
That's why you smiling right now.
Did I win or lose? Did I win or lose? All I care about is the W. I don't care how I get it.
You were tired from dancing, and you talking about you gonna beat Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan. How you gonna beat me?
You know what? It's good.
I got it here. How you gonna beat me?
Are you okay? Here's the thing about LeVar Ball. All right.
Why are you doing this? Why are you? Is this another marketing tool of yours?
Check this out.
What?
It was. He called it. It was another marketing tool. LeVar Ball is what we call a bomb thrower, and he figured out that he could say the most outrageous thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, New York, and to get attention for himself, and it worked because I remember both of those incidents. The Christine incident, and then prior to that, the Stephanie Smith incident. And I found out who LeVar Ball was because his name kept popping up on the Twitter worldwide trends. Not local trends, not like, for San Francisco or Los Angeles or New York, right? No, worldwide. That's how I discovered who LeVar Ball was, because people were tweeting about him. Several thousand times. That's how I found out who he was. And so it worked for him. Now, coming back to Christine, when I look at that exchange again, I have two thoughts. First of all, she did start off by attacking the man. And again, it wasn't that she can't say anything of her own accord, right? She can do that. But LeVar Ball has this gigantic chip on his shoulder, and if you attack him in any kind of way on television, he uses your approach to set up his defense, and that defense will include saying something about you that somebody else would not say, or maybe if a person was sexist, they would say it, they would think it but not say it, like stay in your lane. But stay in your lane can be thought of two ways. What LeVar Ball meant was, I'm talking to him and I'm not talking to you. But they had her on there and they coached this. This didn't happen by accident. They put her on there to achieve buzz, knowing that he was going to respond that way. And he played it right to the hilt. Was what he said inappropriate at times? Yeah, it was, without question. And there was a segment there, a point where Christine looked like she was actually really hurt. And you could see in her eyes looked like she was welling up with tears, because at some point, what LeVar Ball did was he brought the Brothers Street talk and playing what we call playing the dozens to her. And she's not culturally used to that. So there's a lot to, as we say now today, there was a lot to unpack in that exchange, okay? A lot to unpack, without question. There was an element of sexism there. There was an element on her part of unconscious racism, where she was sort of putting him down because he was the demonstrative black guy. It's like, I have to put you in your place. And then he's coming back and saying, well, I have to put you in your place. And so neither one of them were doing the other any good. And so from that perspective, Cam Newton, in a sense, is similar in what he did, in that he was, in a sense, putting this female reporter in her place, yet we as black African Americans, men and women, face many of the same obstacles just from the race, and then you add in the sex, her being a woman, okay? So, but the bottom line, was it right for LeVar Ball to do? No, and I'm glad. I have forgotten the entire exchange, and that's the first time I've seen it the second time. I only saw it once, and I had my initial impression, but I didn't see it a second time to get a full impression. And yeah, LeVar Ball was wrong. Did it serve its purposes in terms of attention? Yeah, it did. That's media today. Boss will tell you that, because we talk about that all the time. I don't know if Boss is still around or not, but New York says what people need to know is that Christine attacked his relationship with Son on TV behind his back. Oh, I didn't know. You mean there was another something that's led up to that? Is that why he was saying, I'm not looking at you? Is that okay? Hey, Jacob P., how are you doing? As John Mark says, all for show. And Rick Rice says, John Mark, you just made my heart full with joy. Karen Christensen says, there's a saying that goes, there's no such thing as bad publicity. He knows what he knows he's going to get airtime over that. He got airtime. He got social media mentions up the wazoo. Joseph Binsman says she had a question for him. He shot it down completely rude way. Last time I checked, she's part of the Cowherd Show. Right. And John Mark says LeVar Ball is the elite talk show host. And New York says, isn't he exactly right? Rick Rice says, I feel bad for his sons, though. They cannot make any decisions for themselves. I think they can. But there's the illusion that the dad is over their sons. He is, to his sons, what originally Venus and Serena Williams' father were to them. And at some point he knew to, let them grow up and fade out, fade to the back, right? And so Rick Rice says LeVar is an elite businessman. Joseph Binsman says, oh God, John Marks, I hope you don't believe that. Believe what? And John Marks says LeVar is a great man. Rick Rice says, you really think he's serious? And Joe Binsman says, it's like he's drinking Mayweather juice, a bomb thrower like Trump. Yeah, he is. And New York says their aspirations cast on LeVar Ball and his relationship with his son before that interview. Ah, okay. And Joseph Binsman says that LeVar is disgusting and kind of pathetic. Okay, so this is good. So Rick Rice says, don't people understand he's putting on an act? And later, oh, by the way, Octavio says she's too hot. You talking about Julie Bueller? Hey, Octavio, how are you? And Rick Rice says, Karen, if a guy finds an intelligent woman like you, her intimidating, then he's not on your level intellectually and not a good match as a friend for you anyways. Right. Quite right. Now we'll go back to the latest when Karen Christensen writes now, Joseph Binsman says, I never liked him because he speaks for his sons, laugh out loud. The talent they have should be the only thing that outward for them. I think he's in it for his sons, but don't know how he's not in it for himself. Karen Christensen says, I have to admit that have been sexist women sports reporters thinking that they've got their job to be around men because I was ridiculed in high school for not thinking guys look good in spandex bent. Oh, no. Joseph Binsman says, thinking about it one-on-one, what would a person like Trump or LeVar be like? I bet I'd see right through them face to face. Karen Christian says, so I grew up with the idea that I was weird for liking football. I think you made a comment, Joseph Binsman, that made me want to say this. And it's that what I find is that people at times try to latch into what they think you're going to be like when they meet you, how they perceive you. Let me give you an example. I was on Bay Area Rapid Transit, and this guy said, hey, aren't you that YouTube guy? And I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, so you don't like Trump, do you? And I said, actually. And so think about it. He said, you don't like Trump, do you? And he said, oh, Karen Christian says, you changed my view on that. Thank you, Zinni. Oh, you're very welcome, Karen. Anyway, this guy says to me, he immediately starts in with what his assumptions are about me, but he has to, in this effort to get off of his mind the tensions that have risen up within him about what he thinks I think, he immediately goes there. He doesn't say, hey, it's great to see you, like your channel, yada, yada, yada. He goes into, so, hey, I recognize you, da. Hey, so you don't like Trump, do you? And I said, well, actually, I tried out to be on The Apprentice. And he said, oh, really, you did? I said, yeah. I said, look, I would have jumped parties to help Trump had he not stopped the race stuff. And the guy says, yeah, that race stuff's not cool, okay? So again, he didn't know who I was. He only knew that he recognized me. I mean, what do you call that, micro-celebrity or whatever? I don't know what, the term is internet, whatever. The bottom line is he recognized me. I get that regularly when I'm recognized. And that's cool. But what I'm saying is that for Trump or LeVar Ball, you have to, one thing I ask you to do if you meet people in public that are celebrities, don't come at them as if they're not people, as if they're objects that activate your insecurity. Remember, they're human beings that have thoughts, feelings, emotions, that go through problems and triumphs like anyone else. Ask them how they're doing, what's up, what their latest project is. Make them feel good. But don't start in on them with your negative thoughts about them. Okay? That's what I ask people not to do. It's really a bad thing to do. So Jacob P says, Zinni, are you going to Raiders game on Sunday? I'm staying in Georgia. And Rick Rice says, just keep doing you, Karen. Yeah, just keep doing you, Karen. And thanks. And yeah, Julie is the tops. She is awesome. Completely awesome. Talking about Julie Bueller. So anyway, Joseph Bensman says, laugh out loud. I never assume about anyone, Zinni. My parents didn't raise me to be like that. Take my word for it. But I do choose who I associate with. It won't be people like Trump or LeVar. But you don't know that. Get to know them. Because you have to remember that people who are in the public eye have a shtick and a persona that's not them. You know, Master P the other night presented that, okay? And yeah, Karen, wait a minute, did I miss something, Karen? Karen says, you grew up with the idea that you're weird for liking football? What? No, not at all. I've got to get Julie on here so that Julie can talk to you, all right? Julie knows football, okay? Julie knows football, so I can't wait to get Julie on here at all. By the way, it's double shares night. If you're able to invest, please rock it. And so, but I don't know if New York Eightful is still on here, but he turned me on to something about the whole LeVar Ball thing with Christine, and they're basically dissing him about the relationship about his son. I did not know that. Now, all I know is that LeVar Ball has made a lot of money off ESPN. And I give him that, okay? Joseph Bensman says, why would I want to know Trump? He's under investigation for treason, and he made his fortune screwing over many people. What good thing is there about Trump or about him? Well, I'll tell you in one moment, Joseph. Jacob P says, you have to realize that a lot of the time media only takes the part of the story they want, not the whole story. Very prescient comment. All right, now let me answer your question, Joseph, about Donald Trump. And this comes from a person who did not vote for him, and I'm not a Republican or a supporter. But I am a public figure, okay? And when you are, look, when you made like, what, over 12,000 videos now, amassed over 71 million views on YouTube alone, and that's not counting wherever else I'm appearing on Facebook or Twitter or any of my blogs, even if you just see my face anywhere, okay? My point is this, that when you say that what good thing is there about Donald Trump or about him, it's the study of how to cultivate the power of celebrity and how to keep it going. And today, in today's media environment, where even people who say they don't want to be involved in media participate by being on social media on a daily basis, all right? I don't care what anyone says. Everybody wants to be recognized in some way for something good. That's just a fact. That's a fact. So from that perspective, what you can learn from Donald Trump is how to cultivate celebrity. And he's done it to a hilt. It got him elected, okay? If you want to understand how powerful that is, it got him elected. Or how someone with 737,000 Instagram followers can parlay that into being on the cover of a fitness magazine like Oxygen. And that's what I think it's Bridget Ung did. She's on the current cover of Oxygen. Okay, I'm thinking, wow. And she's a CrossFit trainer and a champion, right? But they've used media, social media, to cultivate celebrity, which has given them a certain amount of power, monetary power. Not in the sense that they are rich, strictly as we always think of it. Okay, in other words, in fact, it always begs the question: if you're so famous, why aren't you rich, right? But if you turn it the right way, that can actually pay dividends for you. Maybe you get a free ticket to this, or maybe you get a free meal here. You know, it basically works out. Now, does that mean that, as Joseph Bensman points out, what Donald Trump did was right? No. But again, I hate to say it, but I'm just being really, as they say on the street, I'm just being real with you, man, all right? And here's the thing, all right? Lying and racism didn't get Donald Trump elected. That was a byproduct. Being Donald Trump got Donald Trump elected, because we have been exposed to Donald Trump in the public eye berating people for decades. 2 decades to be, precise, or, relatively precise, right? So we have been so conditioned by seeing Donald Trump get into a verbal battle with Rosie O'Donnell in particular, since I've pointed it out. And he has this way of working it. He forms his mouth this way, and he's got a shtick that has nothing to do with real estate, okay? But he realizes that celebrity is currency. Again, celebrity is currency. Now, what you do with a celebrity is something else. You can do something really great with it, like Magic Johnson has done over the years, or you can do something bad with it, like many people allege Donald Trump has done. Okay? But what remains is the power of celebrity. And you ask me what you can possibly learn from Donald Trump, and I'm telling you, that's what you can learn. There is some of Donald Trump in LeVar Ball. There is some of Donald Trump in a number of celebrities. In fact, if you think about the whole of media, remember Perez Hilton, the blogger? I mean, I've always been jealous of Perez Hilton, because Perez took that same outrageous behavior and he made it work for him. His blog at one point was worth $40 million. And that's because of his behavior, his over-the-top, hyper-emotional, picking fights with people behavior that really came to be the hallmark of the bloggers of the first decade of the 21st century. All right, so there is that. Okay, now, okay, I'll see you, Jacob P. And Karen says, I like how he went to Vegas and thanked the working class heroes today. I don't remember Bush doing that with 9/11. Rick Rice says, if you've ever owned a business before, you know that sometimes you take your lumps. Only thing that matters is you get up again. Joseph Bensman says, I don't care. Did America say, Trump, you're full of it after the birther movement? No. Well, actually, a lot of people did. I did. No, that's not true. No, half the country embraced the birther movement against Obama. I would say it's more like maybe 20% of the country. But because it was media, it looked like it was more than that. One thing to remember about the United States is that I call it the real silent majority are the people who are integrated, different backgrounds, different families, the same types of people that made the TV program on NBC, This Is Us, the most popular program on right now. So that's the real silent majority. But some people stayed at home. They didn't vote, and we got Trump. And let's face it, some people did not want Hillary Clinton, and it had nothing to do with Hillary being a woman. It was a style that they just didn't want. Even some Democrats. Look at Bernie. So, all right. So Bensman says, what about being a good person? Isn't that currency, the ultimate currency? Well, Joseph, have you ever heard the term that nice guys finish last? I'm a nice guy, and I hear that term all the time. Have you ever heard the other term that women like bad guys? How many times have we heard that? I mean, think, you put that out there, right? So I'm asking. And that underscores my point. Do you see what I'm getting at? Karen Christian says, Trump paid back the debt on his Chapter 11. That's better than regular bankruptcy and screwing the companies out of the money the person owes. Joseph Bensman says, I don't know. I said I don't know, not I don't care before is any. Okay, fine. Rick Rice offers that Trump won. It's not his fault the left couldn't put together a decent candidate. Karen Christensen says, isn't he considered classic liberal? Yeah, he also flip-flops, okay, Karen, because he has, look, 2 examples from 2015 where Trump said that the Confederate statues should be in a museum. Then now he's supporting them after being elected, okay? And then he said in 2015 on January 8th that, you know, American flag burning was a symbol of expression. He agreed with the sentiment put out by David Letterman. And then now this year, all of a sudden, oh, it's a bad thing because he's president and certain types got him elected, right? So there's a lot of Machiavellian behavior in Donald Trump that people need to be aware of and say, hey, look, this guy's playing us, okay? So, 831 Scott said Donald Trump tossed those rolls of paper towels in Puerto Rico like an elite quarterback. The Raiders should sign him up to backup car. Karen Christian says, I thought Trump voted liberal most of the time. He did overall in his history. And Joseph Binsman said, and that was a mistake, not voting for her, because look what we got right now. Yep. Donis, welcome. How you doing? John Marks says, hey, Donis, how are you? Donis, Giorgio says, late for dinner. John Marks laughs out loud, laugh out loud. Joseph Binsman says, Trump is and has always been whatever makes him looks the best at the time. The only thing he has legitimately been is a con man. And what Joseph Binsman is saying, and I think he stated rather inartfully, is that, and I will state it artfully, he's Machiavellian, all right? He is, or you feel like he is a political Svengali, all right? Karen Christian says, I know he does, or a person can change their mind if they research something. Oh, wait, Karen, you're filling in your own desires about Donald Trump to replace what's true. He didn't do any research except to know that, hey, I can manipulate people this way. So basically, Karen, what you're telling me is that it's okay for him to change his mind as long as he figured out he could get elected like that? Because that's what you just said to me. He did the research, figured out he could manipulate that people like that, did it, and got elected. So you're telling me that's okay? I'm waiting for that one, because that's kind of like, you got to explain that one. That's not good. That's not good. All right? Yeah, Donis, how's the movie coming along? Karen Christian says, Francis from House of Cards is Machiavellian. Yes, and look what happened. If you've ever seen House of Cards, the first one, look what happened to him. Wasn't good for anybody. Joseph Binsman says, and not only that, look at the people that he murdered along the way. You're telling me that's okay? Wow. Joseph Binsman says Trump was appalling in Puerto Rico, but not a surprise. Joseph Binsman says, laugh out loud. Is there anything artful about Trump, Zinni? Sheesh. Well, yeah, there is something about artful. Rick Rice says Trump is a genius, and the people have spoken. Trump is king. Stop wasting your energy crying about it. Rick Rice, are you smoking something? Anyway, Joseph Binsman says Melania is a lovely woman, but every time I see her, she looks like a trap woman. She looks pissed to me. She looks like someone who's not having a great time. Karen Christian says, look at what Hillary did. She flip-flopped. How? Hillary Clinton did not flip-flop like Donald Trump flip-flopped. At all. I mean, there's a difference between flip-flopping and wholesale changing. Now, I can say, you know, I thought the flat tax was a bad idea, but now I think it's a good idea, okay? That's harmless. That is a harmless change in point of view. It says nothing about moral standing. But if I turn around and I pick a hot button issue like the Confederate statue, which is a symbol of slavery to many, and I say, hey, that should be in a museum, but then I deliberately find out that the people that I think will elect me will buy into that, and so I change just to grab them. That's not good. Come on, Karen. You know, I'm going to say this. You know damn well that's wrong. And you know damn well that's wrong. Don't even try and convince me that you don't know. If one of your family members did that to you, you'd have a fit. You know it. So my point is that that's what Trump did. He picked emotional hot button issues, all right? So now Donis says his movie's coming along. Karen Christian says, I meant any person or candidate might learn from he made a mistake, research the situation, change his mind. That wasn't Trump. Trump didn't say I made a mistake when, you know, the Confederate flag is okay. That's not Trump. Okay? No. So, New York, you know it's not Trump. Don't even try. Okay? And so, but Karen, you know what I'm saying. Karen was using the example of the Linden statue. New York says, it's more telling when people are polarized by a man's authenticity. LeVar Ball, Muhammad Ali, Donald Trump, Cam Newton. See, I don't think Trump is being authentic, though. Cam Newton, Donald Trump is being an actor. Donald Trump fools you. So when you make that list of authentic people, you need to take Donald Trump out of it. Donald Trump is not being authentic. He says, he being New York, says they all had their agendas. It shows that people react in a servo manner. No, Muhammad Ali, in fact, I would say this. Muhammad Ali should be thought of as in a different area and Cam Newton than LeVar Ball and Donald Trump. Why? LeVar Ball is trying to sell something. He's selling himself, and he's using the tool of anger against those he feels are being racist toward him as a way to fuel media attention to get his business built, okay? Donald Trump is just playing people. He's playing people to keep us divided so that no one finds out about the crap that he did, so he can get all this other stuff out of the way. And as long as people continue to argue among themselves, he wins. The minute people stop arguing and say, hey, you know what? This guy's trying to take advantage of us because he doesn't mean what he says. That is when people wake up and they get pissed off and he gets jettisoned. You can't run a country like that, all right? You can't do that. So, and Karen says she says she takes all politicians with a grain of salt. Actually, you don't. And you should not ever take any politician with a grain of salt. You should get out, vote, get involved. Don't be afraid to get involved with a candidate, even if your candidate might lose. Some people don't want to get their hearts broken, so they don't get all the way involved. I get that. I get that. Joseph Binsman says, laugh out loud, the only thing authentic about Trump is he's a con man who do whatever makes him look best. You think he's authentically or literally cares or about anyone who's in a Trump? Yikes. I said that he is Machiavellian. Okay? He is brilliant at that. Now, Rick Rice says, yeah, of course none of them are authentic. Muhammad Ali was authentic. We're getting a little off the rails here, folks, intellectually. Muhammad Ali, there was nothing not authentic about Ali at all. He was a showman. Muhammad Ali's personality was bigger than life. Hey, Muhammad Ali held me in his arms when I was 2 years old, so don't you say a bad word about the greatest, all right? He was smart enough, you know, to gain a friendship with me when I was a little baby. All right, so Karen Christian says, I meant that I don't think any politician was perfect. Okay, I get that. Joseph Bismuth says, Ali was definitely an authentic, great man who took a stand. Yeah. And John Mark says, Donald Trump is running a Mark Davis program. I don't know about that. Yeah, I do know that it's 129, and hey, it would be great to get an invest here. So, Octavio, it's the first part of the month. Are you going to chime in? Are you able to chime in? I mean, after all, you said, hey, October. It's October. Just asking. Just asking. Rick Rice says, Muhammad Ali fled the country so he didn't have to go to war. Dylan Marquez says, because it's uncommon for women to know about football. Not with me. Dylan, you just chimed in. You don't know Julie Bueller. Julie knows football. And it's not uncommon. I'm trying to get Dr. Jen Walter on here. And it kind of bothers me because I don't think Dr. Jen thinks that my channel is big enough to be on. You know, I'm not ESPN or anything like that. And, you know, I was excited to have Dr. Walter on, talk about her new book and everything. And I kind of feel like she's maybe dissing me a little bit, you know? A little hurt by that. I will continue to admire Dr. Walter, but she's the first female coach in football. But it's just kind of like, oh, you know, I don't know. And so Dylan, Karen Christian says, I admit she knows a lot. Yep, Julie. And here's something else, Dylan, all right? You should never, ever, ever in your life, put a woman down for being confident in what she knows. You should never fear that. You should desire a woman like that. You should desire a woman like that. Thank you for the investment, Mr. Blackman. Rick Wright says it's amazing Trump won. I'm not surprised because, look, I felt going into the election that day, and before that, when he was Republican, I thought, look, it's 50-50, all right? And when you're in that position, we're already screwed. And that's exactly what happened. And see, again, the reason why Donald Trump won was because Trump could get away with being Trump and Machiavellian. But he could just do that shtick that he's done for years. You're fired. You know, I expect to be served. Like, you know, everything. Donald Trump has a persona that the American public is used to. So he could say anything and it didn't matter. And he was right. He tapped into a thread in society that he was really already ahead of the curve with. And what do I mean by that? I mean this. Donald Trump was anti-PC for the most part before anti-PC became a thing. Okay? I mean, he was one of the, I guess the top proper term would be progenitors of the anti-PC movement. And so now you've got a group of the population that's upset, pissed off, or as the movie Network would put it, what's the guy said, I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore. And he tapped into that. So from that perspective, that nice little warm place that he and his disaffected group of followers found, he could say anything he wanted to. And he had a bully pulpit, and he was like, he didn't understand the full reach of the power of that bully pulpit. And so he said things that caused people to do stupid things because they're stupid. And they're part of that flock. Okay? And then, you know, people just wanted the leader. But and what happens, the Democrats played into that by doing what? By talking about Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton got off her game and she started talking about him. And what's the only kind of bad press there is? There's no press. And so she made it about him and thinking, oh, he did all these bad things. He said this about her. He grabbed the this and he did the that. Oh, he's bad. So you don't possibly want somebody like that in the White House. And it turned out that people didn't care because they had already made up their mind that they were used to that from Donald Trump. But it's like, okay, we're used to that part. Let's see what he does as president. That's what happened. And that's how we got what we got. And not only that, it was a slap in the face of a mill that produced a number of elected officials. Barack Obama was a unique phenomenon. He was, I told someone this a long time ago. I said that the reason why Barack is so popular is because he's the black guy that you and I voted for in elementary school, junior high school, or middle school and high school. The guy that we always felt was the most likely to succeed because everybody liked him. And then, of course, you get out in the real world and racism hits and it's like, oh my God, right? But that was, to me, always the youthful symbol of hope. My buddy, the late Derek Jackson, was the homecoming king at Bret Hart Junior High School. His girlfriend was Lisa, blonde, you know, and Lisa dated Lars, and then Derek decided he was gonna, whatever. Then, okay, but the whole point is that there's an example of what I'm talking about. And there are other examples, I'm sure you have them, that one person, black, male, or female, for king, queen, who was that person who was voted the most likely to succeed and the most popular in school. Well, guess what? Barack Obama, and I don't think by intent, but by personality, tapped into that. He was that person writ large. And so all of a sudden there was Obama, you know, and he had a folksy way about him, nice. He was smooth, okay? Unassailable, unflappable, cool. He was the kind of person that we needed at a time of economic turmoil. And we got him. And I'm gonna say something too, just to, you know, get everybody to think about this. People talk a lot about Jim Comey, all right? But do you know who appointed Jim Comey? It was Barack Obama. Okay? And I contend that there was something that Hillary Clinton did that caused Obama to not go all out for her. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. Not as a person who is a staunch Democrat, and I've said this before on my show, and I'll say it again, I'm very pissed off that I was left out of the convention, but the Clinton people pushed a lot of the Obama people out of the way like that. Okay? And they made room for the Clinton people. And if you didn't make the transition, you were out. I didn't make that transition. I told Donna Brazile, we as a party are weak at social media, and the Republicans are going to hammer us. And that's exactly what happened. All right? So, again, I'm getting off the track, but you get, all right. So, get back to your comments. It's 1:37 here. We've got, let's see here. Joseph Benjamin says, but the thing is, why did people feel Trump was being honest at any time last year? No one verified their belief in him. Just gave him a blind vote because they were sick of Washington. That's wrong. No, it wasn't that they were sick of Washington. It's just that they didn't want Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't that. Again, it was the 50-50 thing. You either got him or this. And you have to remember, Donald Trump spent a lot of his time up there being Donald Trump against these Republicans. He was funny, and they had no comeback, and he made them look weak because they were being gentlemen, and he wasn't being a gentleman. And we're in a society where gentlemen and their behavior are not prized. I, having said that, insist on being a gentleman. Insist on it, okay? So I will never change from that. But we have sadly morphed into a society where the nice guy is not prized in every circle. And that will run its course. And I think it's running its course in terms of, that. All right? So, Karen says, Dylan, I would love to find another female who loves football. Julie Bueller. And who doesn't think it, Julie, okay? And Ethan Scott says, are soldiers getting attacked in Niger today? Yes. Rick Rice says, people need to take control of their own lives and stop thinking voting for someone is going to give them a free pass in life. Rick Rice, that's ridiculous. It's not a free pass. But look, voting one way got us a Supreme Court that is poised to take away some very basic freedoms we enjoy. And not only that, if you are LGBTQ, you should fear what's going on. Voting makes that kind of difference. So don't be stupid and tell people that voting doesn't matter. Voting matters. You know it, and I know it. Okay? It matters at the local level. It matters at the state level. Don't want to be one of these people that doesn't participate and then complains about your lot or the stuff that goes around you. No. Don't be a Zenster. Get involved. Think, vote. Hey, even run for office if you can. So, as Dylan said, Barack connected with the people. He had the one voice. And Karen Christian says Trump sued the NFL for antitrust and received $1. Yeah, that's all it was worth. Rick Rice says winning by default is still winning. Take the L. That's a funny statement, my man in Fresno. New York says, Karen Christensen, in fact, Rick, I like that. I'm going to borrow that one, Rick Rice. Winning by default is still winning. Take the L. Take that L. Take that L. That's kind of screwed. Anyway. Oh, Karen Christensen says, I think when women know football, it's attractive. Cam probably felt that way too. I think, yeah, I agree with you, Karen. I think you're right. I think you're right. And let's see here. And is that how I feel about Russian collusion, Rick? Yeah, is that how you feel though? There you go. Okay, so we've got all these great comments here, and it's getting latest 140. Hey, welcome to Zenny62. We're having a lively discussion about, well, Cam Newton, sexism, celebrity, Donald Trump, LeVar Ball, you name it. And Dylan Marquez says, I honestly like Ben Carson. Ugh. I don't dislike the man personally, but Ben Carson strikes me as one of these folks that hates being black. I mean, he does. Now, he would hear this and say, what? But he really does. He acts like one of these folks that's like, I'm above it and, I'm not that kind of black person and all that. And I've seen that before. And generally, when you meet a person who's black who wants you to think that they're not that black person, generally they are that black person. And what I mean by that as a black person is, you know, they're hypersensitive about what they do or how they come off or what they look like to somebody else. When in point of fact, folks, nobody cares. No one cares. When I was born, we had 180 million people in this country. Now we're almost double. 340 million people. We are more crowded and more busy than we've ever been before. We've got so much media bombarded by that no one has really time to fix on stuff like that. They don't care. All right? So, yeah, look. Ben Carson is a successful neurosurgeon, and for that, I salute him. Absolutely salute him. I do not care for the way he runs his politics, but I will say this. If I ever had the pleasure, and I did say the pleasure of meeting the man, I think we would have a lot of great things to talk about. Okay? And I wouldn't start in with what I disagree with him about, because I am certain that there are more things we would agree about than not. And it would just be fun to really, I would like to know how Ben Carson went about the path of becoming a neurosurgeon and what pitfalls he, you know, ran into along the way. Someone might say read his book, and I should do that. But I just like to talk to the man. You know, I never, ever in my life take anyone's celebrity or their success away. That's a bad thing. So, all right. Benjamin says, I disagree. Part of last year's campaign was a great feeling of anger toward Washington, D.C. because many felt left out. People didn't like Hillary because she seemed like a long-time insider. I don't think that was it. She didn't have the right message. Remember, Barack Obama could have won a third term. There were a number of people who wanted that. For the first time, it was, hey, Barack for a third term. Obama third term. I loved it, okay? But the Democrats, my party, did a lot of micro-targeting. And I'm sorry, I hate micro-targeting in politics. You have one message that resonates with everybody or none. But this micro-targeting jazz, you know, say this to these kinds of people, or say that to that kind of people. It works by accident, which is how we got Trump. But we will get Obama. When you get one message that everybody gravitates toward, you get a successful president with 2 terms and a country that's happy about it, period. So, Karen says, to pay society back, I volunteered 6 hours a day in my son's school for 6 years. Wow. And, yeah, that's excellent, Karen. And American asks, why can't we Americans not colors? Oh, Karen. Oh, my God. This is what I don't like about that statement, okay? And I want to, by example, explain what I mean, why that statement drives me up the wall. I went to a little house party. This was, 30-something years ago. More than that. On 35th, near 35th and MacArthur in Oakland. And unbeknownst to me, it was a Colombian family, okay? And they were doing this, they had a party and were doing a dance in the middle of the room, and I'd never seen that before, and I was intrigued. And they're as American as anybody else. So my point is that America is by its nature multicultural. You should not want everybody to be the same. You should revel in the fact that we're different and then learn from people. It keeps your mind active. Okay? And you have to remember that the ultimate fight is for true civil rights. That's for everyone to achieve their individual goals and objectives and dreams through their life in this country. Remember, have others do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That's what our Constitution essentially says. It's the golden rule. Or that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you don't respect that people are different from you, you take that away. Learn from them. Ask questions. Find out what's on their mind. Eat different kinds of food. Learn a language or two. Or not. Try to and fail. Fine. Different music. This is all before you in America. That's the beauty of being here. So to want some sameness like that, that's not a good thing. Revel in the difference. Revel in the diversity. Revel in that great soup. It's fun. Okay? So, and Rick Rice says, I don't like how being black automatically puts you in a box. Well, I think others try to put you in the box, not me. Big April says, you're right about Mr. Ben Carson, Mr. Zinni. I agree that people found that woman attractive. And Rick Rice says, exactly, Karen. I think Rick Rice and Karen need to get together. Joseph Binsman says, I think it's both, Zinni, that she didn't talk about what she would do enough. She was known to the public for decades. It was a combination of things against her plus misogyny. Interesting. Talking about Hillary Clinton. Karen Christian says, America needs to stop the race division and unite. The ancestors come from different places and made this a great place. But Karen, you can't support Donald Trump and want that because Donald Trump does things that are designed to divide us. So if you really want what you say you want, you can't support Donald Trump's message. You just can't. So Joseph Binsman says, well, as soon as we get rid of white privilege, Karen, equality will bask in the sun. Laugh out loud. John Mark says, watch horror films. Keep America strong. To which I ask, has anyone ever seen the movie Hush? Just asking. A flight attendant on the flight told me about it. And New York says, Karen Christensen, why can't we be Americans, not colors? True, but we should ask corporate sponsors and federal birth certificate sponsors that question. And he also says, Karen Christensen, people are not enabling a race issue, corporations are. When I apply for a job, they ask my race. That's true. 831 Scott says, hey, Zenny, do you think you can get the retired... Oh, Randy Sutton. Great idea. You know, I will do that. I will call him tomorrow, right after I call Julie and get him on. I'm glad you mentioned that because I intended to call Randy Sutton earlier this week. That would be a beautiful person to have on. Thank you for that. Getting on, that's right. Now, yeah. Rick Rice says, Zinni, you just said you didn't like how Ben Carson didn't like being black. What does being black mean to you? You're putting black people in a box? Well, no. I said that he is that kind of person who says, I'm not that. He puts down other black people for being a certain way. I was very pointed in my criticism of Ben Carson when I say he didn't like being black. And what I meant by that is he doesn't embrace people who don't fit a narrow way that he has adopted, okay? That's my point. That's my perception of Ben Carson. That's far different from the question you asked me as far as what it means to be black is to be yourself, whoever that is, and be accepted. That's it. When I was growing up, I was made fun of. I was called Poindexter. The girls said that I talked white and everything else. So, okay, so that's it. So there. So, but to say that I'm putting all black people in a box is patently ridiculous because I can't then say on the next breath, which I did say, oh, I want, and I've said this thread throughout, talking about life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the right to be who you are as an individual, as a person. I can't say that and then turn around and say, as you claim, I'm putting all black people in a box. Rick, that's stupid. I'm obviously not doing that. Okay, so all right. So now, Joseph Binsman says, wait a minute. Laugh out loud, Karen. This country was built on the extermination of Native Americans and the enslavement of African Americans, and the Constitution was not written for anyone but white men. And Karen Christian says, Joseph, I'm half Indian, which also means she's got a temper, so watch out. John Marks says, I like Randy Sutton, and so do I, John Marks. Dylan Marquez says, thoughts on Antifa? I don't even know what Antifa is. I mean, what is Antifa? Do you know what Antifa is? I don't know what Antifa is. I have no idea what you're talking about. Seriously, I don't. So, New York says, Joseph Binsman, true. Karen Christian says, we also have whites that were indentured servitudes. Yeah, but that's far different from being enslaved. Rick Rice says, why did you, I don't understand that one. At any rate, and Rick Rice, I have a feeling that you're deliberately not listening to me. That's fine. Dear Marquez says, yeah, why is speaking correctly a white thing? Yeah, you tell me that. That's the way during the 60s, that's what was aimed at me. I was called white. I was called Poindexter. That's what I was called. But now, fast forward, for those of you who were on when Julie Bueller, when I was trying to get Julie Bueller on here, I was playing the videos, she was saying, you have an authoritative voice. You talk like you think you know everything. And I've heard that from black folks too. I've heard that from everybody. You talk like you think you know everything. What's wrong with that? Now, I could say, all right, okay, but I talked the same way when I was a kid. I talked exactly the same way. I developed it when I was a kid. It was my defense mechanism. Okay, so you may be able to play basketball better than me in Chicago. You might believe that you can kick my butt, but I believe that I was smarter than you were. And I believe that within the framework of things that I knew, I outclassed you. And how I expressed it just then is exactly how I felt when I was a kid. Period. That's it. So, hey, everybody has their thing that makes them, gives them self-esteem. Books, that was mine. Remembering stuff. Drawing. Few cities of the future, that sort of thing. That was me, all right? So, let's see here. And Rick Rice says, exactly, you didn't like being called white, right? No, I didn't mind that at all. I said, you want to call me white? Just call me Mr. White. That's fine. Kind of like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Just say it with a smile. I don't care about that at all. So, names like that never bothered me because I know who I am, all right? The only thing that bothered me was the whole back to Africa thing. And I said to my mom when I was 6, why do I need to go back to Africa? I was actually afraid, and to set the context, this was like 1968. I was actually afraid that someone was going to kidnap me, put me in some vehicle and send me to Africa, and I'd away from my mom. I really had a dream like that. And she said, no, you were born in America and you're an American citizen. And we had the buttons that said, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. My mom said, you don't need to say that. You know who you are. So I got that when I was little. And in Chicago, we got the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. We sang that every morning at Avalon Park. So I got a deep drenching in who I was as a person. Okay? And within that, how I fit in, being basically, a smart alecky black guy. There. Okay? So there. And so Joseph says, I'm also part of Native American, so you got a bad temper too, Joseph. See? So Rick Rice says, the Indian has a bad temper, but we don't like putting people in a box. You got a bad temper too, so that means you're part Indian. See? Oh my gosh. Artifa says, all right. If you actually believe, I believe that, you could be played as easily as Donald Trump is playing America. Oh my gosh. All right. New York says, Antifa are people who are fighting against the all-right perspective. Joseph Bisman says, did you see that Ivanka and Kushner were almost convicted of fraud? I did see that. Joseph Bisman says, tried, and Todd, hello, Todd. You're kind of coming in late because I'm about to go off and sleep. And Karen Crease says, what's wrong with being black and not, what are you talking about? Karen Christians, you're talking about stuff that, wearing your pants and speaking Ebonics, that stuff is 20 years in the past. I don't know where the hell you've been, but you need to come into 2017 and not 1997. I'm just saying. Because 1997, that's the time to ask that question, but now you're way behind the time, Karen Christensen. I'm just letting you know. Phew, boy. Where you got that one from, I don't know. That's like, what? Yeah, as Joseph Binson says, like, whoa? Yeah, that's wacko, okay? I'm sorry, Karen, that just is. All right, that's just stuff where you need to just turn around and say, all right, Time to go to bed. I'll see. Okay. Like, wow. That's really ridiculous. So, New York says, some people are deserving of being silenced, but I do respect everyone's First Amendment. Ditto. Big April says they should lift every voice and sing at sporting events on Black History Month. Dylan Marquez says, I like you. You're a logical Democrat. Thank you. And Joseph Binsman says that was weird. It was weird. See, right, Joseph. See, Karen, Joseph and I are a little like, you're weirding us out. It's kind of like, where are you coming from? That was weird at. And Karen says, I still see that. No, it's not that you still see it. What it is you chose to look for it. Okay? But I'm telling you, that ain't around. Like, I mean, wherever you are, it ain't around. All right, it's 11 people, 13 people. And 831 Scott, and I don't know what this Antifa is. You said someone that's Antifa is someone that's anti-alt-right. I've got news for you. Most of the country is anti-alt-right. So what you're talking about is kind of like, what? I don't even want to hear that, because I believe that's some sort of right-wing name or construct that was created, that some of the media adopted to make it sound like, and it makes it sound like it's bigger than it really is. Forget it. I don't know of anybody walking around wearing something that says Antifa or identifying themselves like that or whatever. Sorry. Okay. But Karen says, but get this is what I'm talking about. She says, watch some YouTube channel and look at the hoods of Detroit or Philly. That's a damn YouTube channel, Karen. Give me a break. I mean, like I said, it goes back to what I said. You look for that sort of thing. Rick Rice, you're right in there with. You guys are a bunch of racists. I'm saying, I mean, you are, seriously. You look for these things. You look for these symbols of division. Okay? You need to unclog your mind. All right? Otherwise, you're going to get screwed up. I mean, just big time. All right? Okay. All right. So Rick Rice and Karen Christensen are avowed racists. Joseph Benjamin is shocked. And we haven't talked about sports. Which means I'm going to bed. All right. Good night, everybody. Where's Octavio when you need him? Good night. John Marks. All right. So no, Karen, you weren't. You just have to simply decide that you're going to not pay attention to certain things. Okay. The game. No, Rick, I'm not mad. I'm just pointing out you guys are being racist. I'm not mad about that. It's a fact. You're being racist. Okay? I mean, if you choose to certain people in description of the way you are, that's racist. I mean, we started this show talking about how Cam Newton put a female reporter down for not knowing a sport. That's racist. Racism is a mental illness and has to be pointed out to overcome. Okay? Okay? And my point is that if you seek racism, you will find it in others. Okay? Unless, of course, you're racist yourself. Then you bring it to others. So my point is this. Both you and Rick Rice, you tend to look at the world in a way where you have these divisions. Okay? And you don't want to accept that they're not there all the time. Because all I've heard you state are those. And I'm just pointing out a fact. I mean, I can take all of your comments and add them up, and I can put them in a book and show them to America, and they would say, yeah, we see that. All right? Like, Karen Christensen mentions the Ebonics thing. That is so 1990s. All right? Let me tell both of you something. It's okay to grow as people. It's okay to grow and change. Get out, go to a nice Ethiopian restaurant, get a group of friends together that don't look like you, and have fun and not worry about it. But if you walk around and you choose to look at divisions and you don't take yourselves in areas where the divisions are not obvious because there's so many different types of people just enjoying lives, or if you don't have a party, you ever have your own house party, have a house party. Don't have a lot of money, have a potluck. Bring them in. You'll find out what I'm saying. All right. Off to bed, folks. Good night. good night, everybody. Good night. And good night. Sleep tight. And don't let the bed bugs bite. I'll see you guys. Oh, but let me clear up something. If you say something that's racist, I'm going to call it out. All right? If you don't want to be thought of that way, then don't write those comments. Those comments were racist. They were plain out racist. That's it. That is it, okay? So good night, everybody. Bye-bye. And if you oh, by the way, if you want to unsubscribe on that basis, that's just fine with me, because I'm going to call out racism when I hear it, and I will never stop. Ciao.